Well, hello, fellow Bengal fans. It's Forever Bengals here. We have an interesting dilemma this week, to say the least. We have to go to the Meadowlands and face the New York Jets for a Sunday night game, final game of the season. There's some pros and cons to winning to winning versus losing. I want to go get into that here. I'm going to start with losing. If we lose the game, we control who we face in the playoffs. We will know that we're going to go out, get the Jets in the playoffs, and they'll have to come to Paul Brown Stadium to play. Now, history's on our side. No team has ever lost back-to-back games. You know, they never lost the final game of the playoffs. Well, I mean, final game of the season, and then went and lost the first playoff game in the playoffs, the wild card game, except for the '94 Denver Broncos. So it has happened once before. It's not history's on our side as far as not the norm. It may be the exception and not the norm. Now, knowing who we have to face though helps us game plan a little bit better. It puts us in a situation in which it puts us in a situation where we can study up on our opponent a little bit more. We know going into the game whether we're going to be facing them in 2 weeks or not. They don't know. They're not going to know where we actually stand. So it's hard for them to it's going to be very hard for them to game plan for the playoff game. But they definitely have to plan for this next week. They have to win it. So we'll see their best, and we'll be able to again get more tape and more film and be able to use that to our advantage come playoff time. So losing on purpose has its benefits. It has its perks. Also, it would keep the Steelers out of the playoffs. Now, Baltimore, they're in a win and in situation. They could beat the Oakland Raiders. I'm not going to say that they're not going to win or anything, but it's going to be a tough game for them. I know that they're going to give it their all, and they're going to want to go to the playoffs. It's not going to be easy because they have to travel to Oakland, and Oakland could easily, they love playing spoilers. They beat us, they beat Pittsburgh, they beat Philadelphia, so they can beat people in Oakland, and they almost beat San Diego. It was really close, so it's going to be a hard-fought game for them. It's definitely not going to be a gimme, but with let's say they do win, which I'm sure will happen, and then we allow the Jets to win. We get, like I said, we control who we face. We lose, we get the Jets. If we win, then the Jets don't get in, and somebody else will get in, and we won't know who that will be. We wouldn't really know who that's going to be. So that would make it a little bit of an unknown. So the pluses of losing is all that. Now, winning, there's something to be said about momentum. A team that has good momentum, that has strong momentum going into the playoffs, can make a great playoff push. And if your players are playing and they're playing to the top of their game, and they know that they can go in and beat the league's #1 defense, then when the playoffs come around, they'll have a little bit more confidence in their ability to beat the Jets and beat not just the Jets, but just beat any team that comes their way, because they've just played the league's #1 defense. So that winning gives us momentum. We've never won in the Meadowlands, and you think about that. This is the last game in the Meadowlands. We've never won. This would be, that there is, would be a triumph. We finally won in the Meadowlands, where we've never won before. It's a Sunday night game. We want to do well on Sunday night games so the whole nation can see. There's just a lot going into this game that, pros and cons, just to say why we should win, why should we lose. Me personally, I don't care. Well, if I had to actually say, I think I'd prefer to lose. I like the idea of knowing my opponent. I want them to try hard. I want us to game plan to possibly beat them, with our backups, to give them the hardest game that they can have, so that way we can see everything that they can throw at us, and give our starters and our coaches just that much more game film to prepare the following week. And if our backups are in there and they're giving them a hard game, that means next week they're going to be drained and tired, and then our starters go in there focused and refreshed, and they'll be able to just light up the scoreboard. So I think the virtues of losing the game outweighs the virtues of actually winning the game. But it's all I know is it's going to be an interesting week. Interesting Sunday, since it's the final Sunday of the year, week 17, and we'll see exactly what happens. So I'm Forever Bengals, and that's my take on the upcoming game with the New York Jets.